Welcome to Healing Wisdom, a Thursday morning talk show featuring guests sharing their stories and knowledge. We discuss the healing aspects of the arts, metaphysics, social justice, and adventure through all types of terrain. So join me, Pandora Peoples, here on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming worldwide at WOMR.org. Our theme music is provided by Mason. You can find her website at masonmusic.com. That's MAESYN. Hello out there, rock and roll souls. My guest today has received 14 music awards, including a gold record. He is Australian singer-songwriter Peter D. Harper, and he'll be performing with the Midwest Kind November 5th at 8 p.m. at the Music Room in West Yarmouth. And also at the Music Room, he'll be playing with Cheryl Arena for the James Montgomery Harmonica Summit on Sunday, November 6th. There will be a 5 p.m. harmonica workshop, aka Harp Workshop, followed by a 7 p.m. concert. So welcome. Thank you so much, Harper, for being with us today.
Hey, no worries, Pandora. Thank you very much for having me.
So I've been really enjoying your didgeridoo music, and, I've always loved the didge. I grew up in Venice Beach, California, so there's a lot of didgeridoo everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, spiritual music.
It's really exciting that among your many different types of tours and venues that you play, world music festivals, I would love for you to talk a little bit about your background and how you came to integrate the didgeridoo with your rock and blues sound. I know you were inspired by Muddy Waters and Little Walter and Sonny Boy Williamson as a kid. And I would love for you to talk about what happened when you met Hopi Dan Running Bear.
Where were we? Colorado. We were up in Colorado. He was playing a Native American flute. And I just started doing didgeridoo. It was new to me. I was still green with it. I wasn't the best player and all, I was terrible. The two instruments together were magnificent because it was so deep and it's spiritual and natural. And, we just got into a bit of a trance with it. And I think we played for about an hour. Back in those days, I was very new at didgeridoo. So I was finding that hard to deal with at first because he was brilliant. So, but, I learned from the native Australians. They taught me, and I actually asked permission to do it because I'm not a native Australian. I wasn't even born there, and they actually were great. They were like behind it 100%. But it all started. I was never going to play one. It was just I did a blues jam. I just went along, and this guy came up with a didgeridoo, and he said, "Can I jam with you?" I said, "What with?" And he says, "Oh, this didgeridoo," and I went, all right. And I had this one song that didn't change. It just stayed on the one note. And I thought, well, if you got one in A, we can do it. And he said, yeah, I happen to have one in A. And we did this song. And I went, that sounds better than when I wrote it. Just that haunting sound. And I went, man, we got to use that. So I started writing more songs. And what's really weird is these Aboriginal guys started coming along and encouraging me to do it. And I'd had that all my life with them. And they sort of said, oh, mate, you can do it. We'll go and get you the real ones, not the fake ones that people say are real Aboriginal didgeridoos. So they took me to the place where I purchased my first one. And then they taught me how to use it. It took forever because it's not easy. Like you said, it's actually very difficult. And I think what people do is they see the size of the thing. They think they've got to put all this air in there, which you don't. It's all up in your face. So, I had to learn that part of it. And I think it took me about a month to get a noise, but that wasn't the hard part. The hard part was the circular breathing, which was, your body doesn't want to do that. It's like, why are you doing this? We're going to die. So, and it's really funny because I started falling in love with it and I started writing songs about the people of Australia that were treated just as bad as a lot of the Native Americans. And I started using words and songs to go with that. And they started, this is a true story. When I first learned it, I was terrible. I wasn't that great. I was taking sneaking breaths every now and again. And so I'm doing this gig in Byron Bay a beach hotel. It's a massive hotel. And the whole Aboriginal community dressed up and painted themselves in their dancing color, you know, the white and all that. They do that. And went out and I said, oh, gee, no pressure here. I've got the whole Aboriginal community out and they're doing these dances around me and on stage. I think there's a video somewhere of it. And I was so scared. And they were just so helpful at getting me better and better at it. And I think they deliberately put me under pressure so that I would learn more. And I did, thankfully. And then I got a deal with Blind Pig Records. And I thought, they're not going to like this stuff. You know, this is not blues. And they fell in love with it and said, no, it's awesome. You know, we got to have it. And then I did 3 CDs with that company. And unfortunately, they don't exist anymore. They've gone. You probably know that anyway. But, you know, they were really helpful as well. And my band put up with it and the crowd loved it. And I thought, oh, this is it. And then occasionally you get people saying, oh, it's a gimmick. And I go, no, it's not. It's actually, because I don't do it every song, you know, I do it in choice songs. And I go, it's not a gimmick. It's something I thought was great for some of these songs. But you're always going to get haters no matter what you do. You know, it doesn't matter. They go, oh, you should just stick to harmonica. And it's like, why can't I expand?
Say something, we got nothing to lose. We're so sick and tired of all the lies you use. Why'd you need to be hurtful to get the things that you need? Your mind is full of lots of hate and greed. Why'd you have to be hateful? Why'd you have to be cruel? Why'd you have to be hateful? Why do you have to be cruel? There's gotta be something going on in your mind. I never met someone who's so unkind. Or could it be that you're lonely? Could it be that you're scared? Must drive you crazy, must drive you mad. Why'd you have to be hateful? Why'd you have to be cruel? Why'd you have to be hateful? Why do you have to be cruel?
So that's a short and whole story of how that thing came into my life. But it was from years ago when I was a kid. I was in the middle of the desert with my father and we were stranded by 2 running bits of water. We couldn't go anywhere and we were going to starve to death. And some native Australians came along and fed us and looked after us for about a week while we survived this flood that happens. It's called the Fitzroy Crossing in Western Australia. And it happens every winter. It goes from nothing to 6 foot swell of rushing water. And they saved my life. And I've never forgotten that. So it seems now that I was meant to do this. You know, and to speak about their plight like Midnight Oil does, you know, that's what I love them.
Yeah, it would seem that fate put you there.
Yeah.
Did they speak to you about your spiritual mission or was this all unspoken? Like, did they say, oh, this is some kind of initiation?
Well, they keep giving you little hints, you know, that one of them actually did a painting and it was me with my wife and it was me holding a didgeridoo and she had her purse running along and they did it. And you're only allowed to, if you get permission from the elders, you can put these roots on, they put them on the corners and it's Spirit Man and Spirit Woman. And he gave us that painting before I learnt the didgeridoo. So, and they're amazing people. And one time I was in Sydney after meeting one of my friends called Tukabi, or he's known by his white name is Turtle. And he did a lot of help for me. And then one day we were in Sydney and there was this Aboriginal group just playing didgeridoo and I'm standing there watching because I'm trying to learn how to get better all the time. And I was speaking to the guy and I said, man, I wish Turtle was here. And he said, He's right behind you. We didn't know he was there. He just did, from nowhere, this guy just turns up. It's kind of crazy, you know. It's, they're amazing people. They have a deep spiritual feeling with the land, as do Native Americans too. They have that, or natives of any country, I'm guessing, has this deep spirituality with their land. And that's stuck with me all the time, you know, like even when I'm writing, I feel that. I feel that call to talk about things like that. And I try and keep it nice. I don't want to be preaching or anything. So, you know, there's a little game you have to play with music so you don't annoy people with it, but you still get a kind of a message across.
Nothing's really stronger than words. Rise up, hold on. Rise up, hold on. Rise up, hold on. Rise up, hold on. There's not a thing that we can achieve. All you've gotta do is start to believe. You will feel better as you lift up your voice. Now it's time for us to all make a choice. Rise up, hold on. Rise up, hold on. Rise up, hold on. Rise up, hold on.
Because a lot of people don't believe this stuff. It's like, oh, okay. You don't have to. It's not really important, you know, that people don't believe it. It's like, it doesn't matter. You're just missing out on half of your creative life. That's as far as I go with it. I don't, you know, because people always want to start having a go, or, you know, and I just try and sneak out of that one and go, look, you have your beliefs and I have mine. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to change anything. You're not going to change me. I'm not going to change you. So let's just be friends.
Yeah.
Let's talk about football.
And when people poke
the bear.
like, well, yeah, exactly. When people poke the bear within, you know, like, because they're like, oh, you know, what is that a gimmick with the didgeridoo? Sometimes it's the dark in a person, or the unevolved part of a person trying to steal the light.
Yeah, and I think, you know, yeah, I was like that too.
Practice, whatever our spiritual or creative process and practice is, like, it's just got to keep infusing us, and we just have to keep using that energy and just let everything else fall away, and just surround ourselves with people who don't take the light.
Yeah, and I think in my early days I was the same. I was just like a rock and roller and just doing all the crazy stuff. I had a magnificent band that unfortunately none of them exist anymore because they got onto the bad stuff, which is sad, because I did meet one 2 years ago and he was the last living member of the band, and now he's passed. And that was a huge band in Australia. I mean, we were, you know, road crew, trucks, all that sort of stuff, the whole 9 yards. But I was never super happy with it, you know. And then when I started doing this, where I wrote all my own music and added the instruments I wanted, it changed everything for me and made me super happy. And, you know, it's come a long way since those early days that I used to do just harmonica. And it's what's strange is now people talk about the didgeridoo and they don't talk about the harmonica at all. And I don't mind. That's fine with me, you know.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your music writing process?
It's really hard to explain it, because sometimes I think I'm not writing it. It's something else that's writing it. And that happens quite a lot, not only with lyrics, but also with the music itself. there are things that you think you control, but sometimes you don't. And I've had to get used to that. So when I'm coming up with story, usually I'll have a broad idea of what I want to say, you know, and then it all just seems to come flowing in from somewhere, from a higher place, I think. And maybe from my gorgeous Australian native folk. Well, they like to be called the first Australians. That's what they like to be called. They don't like the word Aborigine, even though that pertains to every person who's the beginning of any nation. So they like to be called first Australians. That's what they like to have. And so that's what I should call them. But they've been really, really helpful without even being here. You know, I think, you know, you have to open yourself up to these things and then it just comes naturally to you, you know what I mean? Just, that's the thing, you know, open your mind. Free your mind.
Wouldn't it be something if we all could get along? There would be no hunger and the world would be so strong. No need for an army, there'd be no one to fear. If we could lose the anger, then the answer would be clear. I said love, oh love, yeah, equals peace equals freedom. Oh love, yeah, love, yeah, I said love, oh love, yeah, love, peace equals freedom. Oh love, yeah, love, and wouldn't it be something to believe we all are free? Never have to question our responsibilities. Believe in one another, believe it is your right. The world would be a better place if only we would try. I said love, oh love, yeah, equals peace equals freedom. Oh love, yeah, love, yeah, I said love, oh love, yeah, equals peace equals freedom.
We just heard Peaceful off Rise Up by Harper and the Midwest Kind. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Healing Wisdom on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming at WOMR.org. I'm Pandora Peoples, and we're speaking with musician Peter D. Harper of Harper and the Midwest Kind. So songs like Peaceful are really lovely.
Isn't it gorgeous?
A nice antidote.
They, like you said, you know, people try to make you think the way you are. And I don't want to do that. I just want to write the songs and you take it any way you like. And if someone came up to me and said, oh, that's about my uncle, I go, yeah, fine. Right. It might be, it might not be. It doesn't matter, you know. However
it touches a person's spirit or soul or helps
exactly
process something or think about something maybe in a new way.
I like that one, Hell Yeah, because it was just an angry piece. It's a real American thing, you know, hell yeah. So I thought, yeah, this could be everything is crazy, you know, can't get relief, you know, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about other people that feel that way.
Right.
So I'm taking it as a third person doing a story, which is a good way to write sometimes because I want to experience it from another angle instead of everything being about me or my thoughts.
Right. I think people really sort of paint themselves or write themselves into a corner when they feel like their creative expression has to be so personal because it's a way we work things out and empathize with people is to try to be in somebody else's consciousness or thought process.
Yeah, and it's nice to do that. Like you actually put yourself in another position and see how it feels. And that opens you up to a lot of different ways you can do a song, you know, like, plus there's influences too. I mean, I have one of my great influences was always Bill Withers. I just loved that guy. I mean, everything he did, Grandma's Hands, nearly cry every time I hear it.
Yeah, really beautiful.
He was one of those guys that really excited me because his songs were honest and simple. You know, they weren't difficult. Although Just the Two of Us is awesome. I mean, that's a beautiful song. And I used a lot of his ideas in my ideas, like simplifying the bass, keeping the groove going, and keeping it running, not changing it, not trying to be weird. I didn't want to go down the jazz route, although I do that on other things. But
Right.
I do play jazz sometimes, and I like that. The pandemic actually made me start writing for television, and I get opportunities to do different things. Like there was one that's spaghetti western I did. It's like fun, you know.
Yeah. Well, and you have a song that reminds me of Nirvana too. So you go a lot of different directions.
Oh yeah. And some people said
Let you
Alice in
go.
Chains. They think I do a bit of Alice in Chains, and you know, I go, look, okay. If you like, yeah, fine. That's nice. At least you're not saying I'm something really gross, you know.
It's late in the afternoon, I swear. There's lots of movement everywhere. There's so many things I need to do, but I can't do them without you. Visions running through my head. I find it hard to leave the bed. I seem to waste a lot of time. I cannot lose you from my mind. I miss you every single day. It doesn't matter what they say. I should have let my feelings show. It seems so hard to let you go.
So you're going to be performing at the Music Room in West Yarmouth, November 5th, and then November 6th, you're part of a harmonica summit. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, James has known me for a long time, and he's always told everyone, he sends his students to my shows. He says, if you want to learn harmonica, listen to this dude. And I went, oh, thanks for the pressure. And I love him. He's a great guy, you know. And I haven't met Cheryl Arena, but I've heard she's great at workshops and stuff, which I'm not good at because it's hard for me to show people what to do because my playing is so weird. As you know, it's kind of out there. I always admired Sugar Blue because he was always unusual player, and I like individuality with that. But I can understand when you're learning, it's nice to get a basic understanding of what playing is. So I've got to be doing that soon, Pandora. So that's going to be. I've done a couple of workshops, but I know she's the expert at it. And James is just an awesome guy and a great player. So I can't imagine 3 harmonica players are together.
So that's wonderful. A big part of teaching is just inspiring people by holding space for them and then just being an example and letting the spirit completely take you and just being really present. And people learn so much from that.
Yeah, and I think I always do it like there's a way to do, because most people are always asking things like, how do you bend notes and how do you do this and how do you do that? And I'm good at that. I can actually tell them it's like whistling, you know, if you want to bend a note, if you can bend a whistle, that's pretty much it, you know. I try to make it not mysterious, you know. It's like a lot of people made didgeridoo mysterious. It's not. It's just a lot of practice. Once you've got the sound, which is exciting when it happens, right? It's like, wow, I did it. And then you forget what you did.
Yeah. It's inspiring to hear you talk about it. It's definitely something that everyone should try and then try some more and then try some more if it calls.
Of course. It's a very deeply spiritual instrument, and it's known to cure sleep apnea for those people that have it.
Really?
And it's also good for chakras. You know, a lot of people use it on medical. No, I'm not going to say that it cures anything. Of course not. But I have used it for people that have cancer and special needs children. They love it. They love the tone. They love the vibration that it gives them. And it's a very positive thing to do for someone. So there's something in it, and I think it channels your mind into a different reality.
Yes, yes. Would you mind sharing a little bit more about what the sort of traditional thoughts are from the first people of Australia around the instrument?
Because they have a whole lifestyle that's so different from us. It's beyond our comprehension. The rainbow serpent, the dream time. And the didgeridoo is an integral part of it. It's the only instrument except for some sticks, and they will use those instruments. And what they're doing is they're actually creating the basic sounds of the animals, all the different things that go on. So they'll tell a story, and the guys playing will add things in. They'll do calls of dingoes or, all sorts of different animals. And we've taught this at schools. We've gone to schools and taught about the Aboriginal people. It's just part of what we do when they ask us. So we'll go along and we'll teach children about the didgeridoo and the Aboriginal people of Australia, or the first Australians. And then we'll also get them to paint their own didgeridoos. And we use golf tubes, those tubes that they use to hold golf clubs. They're non-toxic. I found that out. And they will grab them and they'll paint on them and they'll play them. And we've done that in China, England, Germany, I think we did it there. And, of course, here in America, we've done it quite a few times. And that's a great way to teach people about a different way of life, without getting too deep. And certainly with children, I won't tell them the nasty stuff that happened to them. Try to keep that out of it.
Thank you so much, Harper, for joining us today. Your band, Harper and the Midwest Kind, performing at the Music Room.
Yeah.
Yarmouth, November 5th and 6th. Thank you so much.
I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. You've been listening to Healing Wisdom at Outermost Radio. All of our shows are podcasts at WOMR.org. Also check out healingwisdomradioshow.com and contact me at pandora@WOMR.org.